Hello there, Lunar Squadron. Welcome back to the channel as we continue our tour of the galaxy. Last time around, we toured the Judland Wastes, Mos Eisley, and Mos Espa as we traversed the dunes of Tatooine. Now today we are taking a more relaxing detour to the galaxy's most beautiful planet. You guys all guessed it correctly. We are going to be touring the beautiful planet of Naboo. Now, whether you are looking to quench your thirst for adventure in the deep seas of Otoh Gunga, take a historical tour of the landmarks across Theed, or pick up a Naboo starfighter in the Theed hangar, Naboo is the perfect place for you. Now today we are going to be exploring all of these locations as we look at all of the footage throughout every single trailer that we've seen of Naboo. We're going to be pointing out the details that we've noticed throughout these shots, and we're going to be showing you guys what we think the layout of Naboo is going to be in this game. But before we do all of that, we have a few messages, don't we, Nick?
Yep, we sure do. First, if you've been with us over the last few weeks, you would know that we will be doing a Q&A at the end of this breakdown series. Now, the way you can get involved in this, if you don't know, is to do three simple things. 1, like this video. 2, subscribe to the channel. And 3, leave a Q&A question down below. You do those three simple things, and you are entered in our Q&A giveaway to win a mystery LEGO Star Wars set, which will be announced at that Q&A at the end of these breakdown series. Now, my other message is actually for Bosk. Bosk, quick question. You have an all-expenses-paid day trip to Naboo. What is the first thing that you're going to do?
Chewbacca dies today.
Wow, Bosk, that was completely pointed and completely unsurprising as always. Once again, thank you so much for being here. We really just love having you on this channel all the time. Anyway, guys, let's just get into this video and talk about everything Naboo in LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. This is Lunar Squadron standing by. We are ready to make the jump to hyperspace. On my mark, Lunar Squadron.
Alright, so right off the bat, I just want to say that Naboo is probably one of the most diverse planets in this game. We have basically two different populations and two very different environments in this planet. We have, of course, the underwater segments of Naboo, and then we also have the surface level areas of Naboo. Now, I'm going to take these areas one at a time, starting with the surface area of the Great Grass Plains. Now, we know from the gameplay overview trailer that the Great Grass Plains is where we are going to be playing out the Battle of Naboo in classic Skywalker Saga fashion. If you guys have seen the movies, you know that this is where the great battle between the Gungans and the droids took place. Now, from this footage, we are able to see the droids gearing up for battle. We can see MTTs as well as AATs in the background. And then we are able to see something relatively new for a LEGO Star Wars game, right, Nick?
Yeah, we actually get a nice look at how this mission might actually play out in a few different stages. So we get this nice little shot of you shooting at the army of the Trade Federation. It kind of looks like Galaga to me. It reminds me of Galaga, where you have to stop these waves from breaking your lines. And it looks like it's going to be a multi-stage mission, because the very next shot we have is of Jar Jar running around under the shields. This is clearly a different portion of this mission. It's still the Battle of Naboo. Now, I think a cool little detail to point out here, Andreas, is there's these two little droids that are flying in the sky, and those look like Dark One droids, and I'm not quite sure why they would be there, but pretty cool little detail that is hidden right there on the shot. So definitely, I think we get a nice look at how the Battle of Naboo will possibly play out. It looks like you'll have these waves that you'll have to stop, and then you'll probably have to come out of that, go back into your normal character, fight some battle droids, and then probably stop a few more waves. We see this in other games. It's not something that is new mechanically, but it is pretty cool to see how this battle might play out in LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Now, we don't just see a ton of Gungans on the Great Grass Plains. If you are looking for Gungans, then go no other place than Otoh Gunga, the underwater city of Naboo. Now, if you ask the Gungans, they'll tell you that this is actually the capital of Naboo, and it looks like you were able to explore quite a bit of the underwater capital for the Gungans, right?
Yeah, as you can see at the very bottom of the shot, the bottom platform actually has studs, so you will be able to go down there and explore and pick up those studs. You'll also clearly be able to run around this middle level, and then also if you just take a look at the back right, you can see what appears to be a ladder going up out of one of those bubbles. So perhaps there's even an upper level that you can explore, or you can maybe even take an upper level to get out of there, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, that certainly is the case. And one big question that I have for Naboo in general is how are we going to go between the Otoh Gunga underwater segments and the above ground segments such as Theed, which is where we are going to be stopping next. One of my theories is you are able to exit Otoh Gunga by going up one of those ladders and boarding a bongo. You can see a bongo being used here. It is being driven by Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Jar Jar, of course, is the backseat driver that we all wish we had. And they are frantically running away from a OPC killer, or as Jar Jar refers to it, a big goober fish. Now we know that this segment is quite on the rails. It just looks like an on the rails segment. However, I wonder if we are able to use bongos to drive back and forth between Otoh Gunga and Theed, or if we just hop in one and we, pop up in Theed. Now, we know that if we were able to pilot a bongo, it looks like they have at least one weapon, that being the torpedo, which you can see drops from the bottom of the bongo and then shoots backwards at the OPC killer. I guess the big question is, once we hop in those bongos, then where are we going to emerge? Well, if you think back to The Phantom Menace, we can all recall Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Jar Jar resurfacing in their bongo on one of the rivers that runs throughout the city of Theed. And we actually see one of these rivers in the trailer, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Actually, if you take a look at this shot of Anakin, he's standing on a bridge over one of these riverways. Now, we don't think this is actually the same river that they surface on in The Phantom Menace. We think it's one of the rivers that is actually connected, because if you take a look at this map, by taking a look at the footage from The Phantom Menace and comparing it to this map, we believe they actually resurface here near the top where the mouth of the river starts. But we think this shot of Anakin actually takes place on one of these lower bridges down here on the right river, and there's a couple reasons we think that. First, if you take a look a little bit further down the river, you will see another bridge. This, of course, looks just like the bridge from the shot of Anakin. Now, to us, the big giveaway is if you take a look at the back of this shot, you will see this little rotunda building on this elevated surface. This looks just like this building from the map of Theed. We think that you are on this bridge, and a main reason we think that this bridge will be in this game is that this is actually the bridge that connects the palace area of Theed with the other main area of Theed that you will be able to explore, that being the Plaza Refinery Complex. Now, before we jump into the Plaza Refinery Complex, I actually just want to talk about one more shot from the streets of Theed, and mainly this shot of Qui-Gon taking on a little squadron of B-1 Battle Droids. Now, I think a cool detail to point out here is if you take a look at one of the battle droids on the left, that is actually a captain. That is a droid captain. Now, my theory for this is possibly that there will be B-1 battle droids that will patrol throughout the streets of Theed that you will come across and be able to battle. Now, the other thing to point out here is just look how big the streets of Theed are. It really looks like you're going to be able to explore a lot of Theed, which is incredibly exciting because I absolutely love Naboo. It's one of my favorite planets in Star Wars. I cannot wait to be able to go here. So to see that it looks like you will be able to run around all over Theed just gets me extremely excited about this game.
Now, it looks like Theed is going to be divided, like you said, into two areas, divided by a bridge, which is also over that river that we believe we will be emerging into. Now, on one side of that bridge is the Theed hangar and the Plaza Refinery Complex. Now, if Plaza Refinery Complex doesn't sound all too familiar to you, it is the location where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan face off against Darth Maul. Now, as you guys can see, this area has these large tubes with light passing through them. This is actually how the city of Theed gets its power from the reactor, which pulls plasma from the core of Naboo and distributes that energy throughout the city. The more you know about Naboo. Now, you also can see the Theed hangar here as Padme, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan approach Darth Maul, who's standing in between the Theed hangar and the Plasma Refinery Complex. And then we have some more shots of that refinery complex. As Obi-Wan faces off against Darth Maul, we kind of start to see some of the combat here, including what we believe is the first look at QuickTime events in this game, where we see Obi-Wan blocking strikes from Darth Maul. It appears that this is one of those QuickTime events. They've just removed the buttons that are displayed. We know from the accessibility article that there will be QuickTime events in this game, and this just seems like one of them. Now, one other thing to note in this shot is if you look in the back right hand side of this shot, you can see that Qui-Gon is actually standing without a head. His head is actually floating about 3 body lengths above Qui-Gon. Now, Nick, is this a glitch, or what do we think this is?
No, I actually don't think this is a glitch at all. I think we're actually getting a look at what the respawn animation will look like. If you can see, his torso is not completely connected to his legs, so what I'm thinking is going to happen are the legs are going to come down, and then the body is going to come down and connect to the legs, and then finally the head is going to come down, because you see that stage happen, and then he turns to come help you fight Darth Maul. So I think we're actually just getting a cool little look at what the respawn animation in this game is going to look like.
Now, the final location that we see from the trailers is the Royal Palace Plaza. Now, as we know, the Royal Palace Plaza is a stretch of pedestrian walkway that leads from the Theed Royal Palace all the way down to the Royal Courtyard. And we can see here that they've recreated a lot of the key architectural features of this area, including the infamous Triumphal Arch, which infamously the droids are marching under here. And we also see our first look at a particular character, don't we, Nick?
Yep, we get to see Newt Gunray for the first time. Of course, we only see the back of him, but if you take a look at the Lego minifigure, just open up Google and Google it, that is clearly Newt Gunray's figure.
Now, one question that I had is, given that this is a cutscene and how expansive this Royal Plaza looks, I was wondering just how much of this you are going to be able to explore. Now, my worries that we might be limited to seeing this plaza in just the cutscenes were immediately dispelled when we saw this here clip of Jabba the Hutt parading down the Royal Plaza with, of course, Salacious Crumb running behind him. Now, we know for a fact that you're going to be able to explore quite a bit of this area because you can see studs going up the stairs to the front door of Theed Royal Palace. This leads me to believe that you are able to go up into that area, and if they're going to take you up the stairs, then honestly, I can't see any reason why they would keep you to just out in front of the door, especially when it looks like from this angle that that door is open. It only makes sense that you're going to be able to go inside the palace, and I really hope you're able to do so because given this shot, given the shots that we've seen throughout these trailers, including shots of Anakin and Qui-Gon in the streets of Naboo, it looks like there's just so much Naboo to explore in this game. That's not even considering that we have all of those underwater areas as well as the expansive great grass plains of Naboo. There's just so much to see on this planet, huh?
Yeah, there really is. It really is clear from the brief footage that we have from the gameplay trailers that we really are going to be able to go all over Naboo. We also got a great look at what some of the missions are going to be like with the QuickTime events and just the overall composition of those missions. Now, while I'm extremely excited to be able to explore all of Theed and Otoh Gunga and all of that, I am wondering, since all of the footage we have gotten is just from the Phantom Menace era of Naboo, will there be any sort of Naboo from Episode 2? As we all know, Anakin and Padme make their way back to Naboo in Episode 2, and they go to different areas. We get to see Varakino, and we get to see some more field areas of Naboo, so we got even more Naboo in Episode 2, so it just has me wondering if we're going to be able to get any of that sort of Naboo on top of everything we're getting when it comes to Theed and Otoh Gunga.
Whether or not this game ends up taking us to those additional locations, it is of no doubt that there is just so much Naboo to explore. As I said at the beginning of this video, this is an incredibly diverse planet which has so many different areas, from the more metropolitan areas to the more scenic areas and the adventurous underwater areas of this planet. There is something for everyone. Please do let us know in the comments down below which of these areas you are all looking forward to exploring first. I don't know about you, but I'm probably going to go run around the city of Theed. I just really want to see, how much of this area we are able to run around. And of course, I want to see how you are able to go down into Otoh Gunga. Maybe you need a Jedi respirator to get there. Who knows? Now, thank you all so much for joining us on our tour of the beautiful planet of Naboo. I can't wait to take you all to the next planet, but that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.